Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. We need to talk. Those words, you almost never want to hear them because you know what hinges on those words. We need to talk. We're going to talk about that today. Handling difficult conversations with confidence. It's going to come up in your professional life, your personal life, especially if you are a leader responsible for dealing with a team. How do you have these conversations? Don't avoid them, but foster positive feedback. He's going to help us out with that. He is the founder and CEO of a great organization that helps people with this and so much more all the time. Saterman Connect is the name of the company out of New York City. He's not just a facilitator helping leaders up their game. He's also a speaker, conducts workshops, author of a great book called Arrive.Drive.Thrive. Josh Saterman is back with us. How are you today?
Don't forget handsome. Don't forget intelligent. Don't forget executive coach, dad, husband. Most days, no, husband every day. You know all the fun things that go with my life. So
Well,
yeah, there you go.
I'll have my producer change the notes so we have that. You know what? I have to consult with our producer because we need to talk. You didn't give me enough information for Josh. There's so much more in his world. What's going on? We need to talk here.
Yeah, handling those difficult conversations. That's what we're here to talk about today.
Every day, this can happen where you have a conversation. I'm going to be lasered and completely clear on something.
Yeah.
I have one coming up later today. I'm not even kidding. It's a personal situation. It's been put off for about a week or two. Schedules didn't align, but the conversation needs to be had.
Yeah.
For both parties. It's not just one. So I get it. And it's a hard conversation. I'm not sure. I have an idea where it's going to go. I'm not 100% sure. Have I been avoiding it? A little bit. It's every day we deal with these types of conversations, right? They can pop up at any time.
Yeah, every day.
Hmm.
Every day.
What's the starting point when you know that you're faced with that conversation? It's going to be uncomfortable. You know it needs to get done. You want to have a positive outlook, positive direction in the conversation. Where do you start with all that?
So I have to say I'm very fortunate. Shemaine Shazad is a very popular executive coach in the world of coaching. He's done a lot of great work, and one of the tools that he's come up with as not a selfish plug but a selfless plug. This is his business. It's called positive intelligence. And essentially, the quick version is that your brain has basically two channels, like an angel devil kind of situation,
Mm.
where you've got Sage and Saboteur. I've been fortunate enough to take the courses and understand a bit more details about it. But the reason why I bring that up to the audience is the first thing is most people have good intentions. Let me say it differently. Most people don't want to fuck up. That's not what they go into situations, right? Most people go to work and say, I'm going to do a good job today. They don't go in and say, I'm going to do the shittiest job possible. That's not how this works, right?
Right.
Most people. Now, I don't want to speak in generalizations right? What we know as humans is data suggests multiple sources that somewhere between 50 to 70 thoughts happen in our brains per day. And that we also know that because we're human, fight, flight, fright still exists within us on some subconscious, most basic level. And that means about 75% of those 50, 60, 40, 70,000 thoughts in a day are going to move into this category, possibly, of this saboteur. So the first thing to do when preparing for a conversation is get to the facts. What are
Mm.
Even if the facts are feelings, right? One of my most popular tools that we use in our coaching is I feel dot 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 when dot 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 because I feel, now I'll do it in a different way so you see how it feels, pun intended, right, Steve? I feel, Steve, when we get in this podcast and you share about your personal experiences that we get a deeper connection during our call because I get to know what's happening for you in real life. So I get to provide tools in real life, right? So it's a way for you to frame your brain to think about how to move from saboteur to sage. That when we're handling difficult conversations, sometimes, even if it's a tough conversation, it's still a meaningful or impactful, dare I say, even positive experience because it's truth talk and it's done with facts.
I have so many questions. First off, I'm a big proponent of facts. In my journey, even in the last couple of years, it's all about facts. Try to take the emotion out if you can. Facts are facts. Facts don't lie. So I'm right there with you.
Well, and the reality is that a fact can be is you hurt my feelings. And even if that's not what someone's literally saying in their words, it is what you are hearing in their language. So as a good
Hmm.
leader, as an impactful leader, as an inclusive leader, right, one of the things that we do sometimes is listen for body language or listen for uncomfortability or listen for, hey, your words really upset me. And it may not really always be about you. Don't make it about them, right? But it may be about another situation. You know, you think about somebody that has been told for their entire life, you know, to break it down, wow, your English is so good, right? And someone's thinking about that, and they've been told that 5,000 times. But their English is good, right? So why are we saying that to somebody? So understanding a little bit more when you deal with difficult conversations or handling conflict, right? It's not just your own lens, it's where somebody else also coming from, so that you understand deeper perspective, deeper lens into what's happening in front of you.
When you talk about the sage and the saboteur, who's the saboteur? What? Why would we want to screw things up?
Oh, you just asked the question. Mic drop. This podcast is over. Thank you, Steve. No.
I need to know. I'm going to get the book. I have to find out. Like, I get the the devil and the angel, right? But why is it something subconsciously that wants to derail the situation or just mess it up?
There's a lot of Shazad does a brilliant job of laying out the different types of saboteurs. You know, there's a handful plus of the types of saboteurs. And in that way we get to know the different what we would call triggers or alarms that would go off if one of those happens for you. I would start from the coaching lens of self-awareness. I would start from the place of saboteur is sometimes our own brain doing what our brain does best, which is actually thinking of scenarios, and it's to protect,
Hmm.
right? Like I don't want to be yelled at. I don't want to be not liked. I don't want to be disrespected. I don't want to be made uncomfortable. I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. I don't see where I'm going is the I comes first. And so
Yep.
regardless of the different saboteur lanes, right? And it's a brilliant question. The first lane I would suggest people start with is why am I uncomfortable? You know, even in its most basic level, I'm going to have a conversation with a loved one. Doesn't matter the loved one, sister, mom, husband, wife, doesn't matter. I'm getting ready to have a conversation with my loved one and it's feedback and it's going to hurt, right? It's going to hurt because I'm saying, "Hey, this bothered me and I don't like it." And your brain starts to go into the scenarios. When do I do it? How do I do it? So we're getting into the next level of handling conversations with confidence, which is also, I've shared this on previous podcasts. My mom used to always say, she still does, uh, speak to people the way they want to hear the information, not the way you want to say the information. And so this goes into then, if your saboteur is kicking up and you got to get into Sage, the first thing I always coach around with any level of leadership is what do you control?
Mm.
What do you control? You control your voice, your cadence, the tone. You control the environment to an extent, right? Hey, I'd like to have a conversation. It doesn't have to be a tough. You don't have to say, you don't have to qualify it. I'd like to connect. There's a couple topics I'd love to connect around. I think we should go to a coffee shop. I think we should go for a walk. I think we should do it over the phone. I think we should do it on Zoom. I think we should, right? You can recommend the environment, right?
Mm.
So you can think about your tone. You can think about your energy. You can think about your environment. You can consider writing down some bullets or notes so you can stay focused. right? So there's a lot of tools you can do to move yourself out of saboteur into sage. And you can do that with strength in preparation for having a conversation.
I'm going deeper. Here we go.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Jumping in.
Let's do it.
So let's say you're having a conversation with somebody or about to, and in the back of your mind, you just know it's either going to go in a certain direction, or let's say, whether it's personal or professional,
Yeah.
that you just know this is what's really the outcome. But
Yeah.
you're trying to prevent any negativity within it. But the saboteur, based on facts, past history, whatever it might be, the saboteur is in your mind. You know how this is going to go. This is
Yeah.
it's probably not going to go well. Is that what's going on here? That you're hearing the stuff in the back of your mind and you're trying to maybe steer away from it, or you're even steering into it, the negative road. Well, you didn't really want to go that way, but it's the saboteur.
It's choice. This is what makes
Hmm.
us human. I would say that between positive intelligence or between Carol Dweck's growth mindset, this is where humans have choice.
Hmm.
So I'll give an example. I was coaching a client and I was coaching the organization. I'm like the head coach. And there was a challenge between a boss and that boss's direct report where they were like what I would call ships passing in the night. And in the conversations, what started to happen is it wasn't the difficult conversation that was actually getting in the way. It was actually that there was not a clear job expectation laid out. It's that the boss was not being clear about here are the three things I expect of you, and we need to deliver those results.
Got
Oh,
it.
and by the way, if you don't know how to do it, let's work together on mentorship, sponsorship, experiences, professional development, and let's understand the skill and the will. Let's understand the capability and the capacity. Let's have a tough, quote unquote, tough conversation, difficult conversation. Let's change that narrative. Let's have a transparent conversation. Let's have a powerful conversation. Let's have a meaningful conversation. Let's create impact. So the choice is yours. The saboteur will naturally happen because we're human. The human also can kick in. Remember, fight, flight, fright. Take a deep breath. See what happens after three deep breaths. Your brain gets clear. So biometrically, while we are trained to react, we have the choice of
Hmm.
what we do with it. A wise coach once said to me, "You're not accountable for your first thought. You are accountable for your second thought that comes with a first action."
Whoa. Say that again, because a lot of these nuggets that I've gotten from you, I've shared. For example, you've said in the past, um, mean what you say what you mean, but don't say it in a mean way.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I can't take credit for a lot of these. In fairness, they're not mine, right? They're the world's. And I learn from them. And this
Sure,
goes
sure.
back to not to be self-serving, but to be growth mindset, right? I don't have to reinvent. I have to honor. So in this case, Rashana Price, who's a wonderful coach, who's an author, who's written about anti-bullying, amazing human, once said to me, right, you're not responsible for your first thought. You are responsible for your second thought that comes with a first action.
Hmm.
So your brain is thinking 70,000, 50,000, 40,000, 40 thoughts a minute, 40 thoughts a minute. You don't have 40 actions in a minute. You're choosing which thoughts to action on. You're choosing which thoughts to play into. Again, it's lens. Is it a difficult conversation or is it radical candor? Kim Scott. Right. Truth talk, transparency, right? And so when we think about the tools that we have at our disposal, what we are actually doing is allowing ourselves to utilize these tools to get more comfortable with doing it. Let me say that again, because that actually is the mic drop here. Is most people like, I can't do a tough, I don't like to do it. Well, have you done it enough? Have you shared feedback powerfully enough? Have you been connected and said, I'm going to deliver some feedback and it may hit your ears hard. Let's hang together, right? Part of my job as a boss is the accountability of somebody's success starts with me. It starts with direct feedback. It starts with clear delegation models. It starts with me understanding their motivating factors. So I'm blowing up this conversation and making it bigger than it needs to be on purpose because if you just say, what are the tools to having a tough conversation? You're missing the deeper connection. You're missing the connection of when you are able to choose in growth mindset, hey, this is a meaningful conversation because I'm invested in your growth, because I want to be on the same page. It can be family, it can be loved one, it can be friend, it can be work colleague. Tough conversations are not reserved for the workplace. So this is why I share all of these tools for people to think about, is so that people have access. In fact, actually, Arrive, Drive, Thrive, I'm flipping through, just reminding myself of things like delegation models and
Mm.
handling politics in the office, and coaching for results. These are all tools that, page 142, delegation model, you can really think about so that you're getting in front of these conversations to make them positive versus a reaction.
There's so many great tools and little nuggets in that book. I want to, you answered this already, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper. When you're faced with one of these challenging conversations,
Hmm.
should you be very intentional? Should you have a goal in mind? And I think you said that in some regards in terms of the expectations, like what the leader is expecting from the person they're having the conversation with. So that's question A. Question B is, and I think they're kind of related. Should you rehearse it in your head? Now, I'm a big proponent of living in the moment, but should you play it out in your head how you want it to go or how you think it's going to go?
Good question. Um, the coach in me is saying, how do I move the should question to a when and what question? Not to correct, Steve, don't misunderstand me, please. But the reason why I'm saying that is the should could be yes or no. The when and how might be style. So let me do it this way.
Sure.
Preparedness is paramount, but preparedness doesn't necessarily mean that you have to study for 14 hours before you give this person 5 minutes of feedback. It just means that a tool to consider is solve for what you are trying to solve for. In other words, pile on doesn't work. Well, when you did this and then you did that and then you did the other and then you went over here and then you went over there, and by the time you're done, you're like, well, what are we solving for? So when we get ready for a conversation where we may not be on the same page, difficult, tough, challenging, opportunity, fill in the gap on the word, that's subjective, right? And when we're preparing for that, what we can start to do is say, what am I actually solving for? What do I want the outcomes of this conversation to be?
Mm.
When you solve for the outcomes, is it alignment? Is it collaboration? Is it meeting clear expectations? Is it talking nicer to each other? Whatever the outcome is, now you can back into, how do I want to launch the conversation? What are the examples at play? Should you rehearse it? Sometimes, I mean, a little
Hmm.
TMI, but here we are sharing openly, right? A little TMI. Sometimes I am in the shower and in that warmth of just sitting quietly, my brain, ping, 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 it's like spark plugs are exploding in my head
Yep.
because I'm thinking about, right, your body actually has been given the opportunity to take a breath. You can't do anything else. I wish I could type on my computer. It doesn't work yet. It's not waterproof. So I'm sitting and thinking. So yes, I am rehearsing it, right? If I find myself over rehearsing and I feel that pit of anxiety starting, the way that I get through that is I need to move. I actually need to go the other direction, which is get active, go for a walk, get it out of my system, clear the clutter, refocus. Because it's anxiety ridden because I feel like it'll play into somebody's emotions, or I feel underprepared, or I don't feel like I'm clear on what the outcomes should be. And so my brain is spinning. And I need to give my brain the permission to stop spinning so I can get to clarity.
I think that's or I feel that is the biggest challenge with all that, putting the brake on it. Yes, preparation is everything. feeling how that conversation is going to go, but then you need to stop because we could keep going. By the way, on the shower, it's psychologists say that's one of the best places to think. And I don't know if you've ever tried the eucalyptus spa spray, CVS, $8, sprayed on the wall. It feels like you're at a spa.
Oh, one of my siblings, my brother actually gave me a few of those, and I'm like, citrus basil, yes.
Yeah,
Eucalyptus, yes. I mean, internal spa treatment, yes. I'm all about the spa. So
right.
yeah,
It's like you
I'm
never
with
want to leave
you.
your shower.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
with you. Yeah. So it's
so
quiet. It's quiet time. So your brain has permission to think.
yeah, I had the spray. My daughter stole it. I'm like, where's my spray? And now it's in her bathroom. Um, it sounds almost as if you're manifesting the conversation because one of the main principles of manifestation is you envision what it is, you feel it, and then you work I call it reverse engineering. You work your way back. How am I going to get to that outcome?
Yeah.
Um, and I will tell you, many times I'll be heading to a networking event, social gathering, whatever it is. I've already been there. I've already played it in my head. I did it
100%.
on Friday. I was meeting up with some friends, different
Yeah.
venue. There was a band playing, different dynamics of people. I'll just leave it at that. All good. But I'm like, how's that going to go? How's this one going to react to this one? They're going to just meet for the first time, blah, 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 the whole thing.
Yeah.
It went exactly how I thought it was going to go. And I always wonder, am I manifesting that or I just, used third eye and just kind of felt it out? But
Yeah.
I feel in those conflicting conversations, you can do that and sort of have a feeling of where we're going to be with this conversation. But the greatest advice coming from you, stop at that point. Don't keep doing it. Don't keep going deep into it. You'll drive yourself crazy.
You will. It makes you wild, right, in a sense, because your brain can't focus on the pinpoint. So it's
Yeah.
just like pinging back and forth. What's interesting about this is as you were just saying this, it just sort of occurred to me that in oh my gosh, I can't get the word out. In most of our conversation, there you go, right? We've been spending time talking about feedback, and in that breath, we're also in some ways agnostic. The audience may be thinking, well, this is great. I'm good with this peer-to-peer. Good tools. I'm good with this to my direct reports or junior colleagues. I'm good with this. Hey, Steve, Josh, how do we manage up? What happens when somebody above us as a leader does something and we got to handle that conflict? What do you do there? So, Steve, I'm watching your face. I can see that you've got some thoughts here. Do you have any examples that
You don't
maybe
want to
you
hear my
had?
thought. My thought is we're way over time. Like we're out of time. I'm like, it can't be that. No, we are. Oh my gosh. Um, maybe a part two on this or a pickup next time we get together because this is
Maybe a
very
pickup.
impactful.
What if we gave one or two tips to the audience?
Got to do it in 30 seconds.
30 seconds, same rules apply. Truth talk wins. Clear is kind, kind is clear. So
Hmm.
when you have a tough conversation with confidence, it's all about being prepared and telling people you care about them, right? So it's all in the spirit of trying to have open conversation, and we will pick back up on this conversation when we pick back up on our podcast.
Saterman Connect is the website, Saterman Connect.com. The book is fantastic. You can find it, a link on the website, or just search it out at even, Amazon. Arrive, Drive, and Thrive. Great conversation today. As always love
Thank
having
you,
you on.
Steve. Thank you,
Appreciate it.
audience.
We'll be
Bye.
right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.